Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of Nutrient Shootouts. Today we're doing a nutrient update to what's about to feed at 8 o'clock on Thursday in, I believe, what is day 18 of flowering. So basically they've done a freshwater flush, and so we're switching over to using the Grow XL and the Psycho Swell, along with the standard A and B, Uptake, Dr. Repair, Zyme, Sugar Rush, Silica, B1, and of course the new Rhizal Fuel, which I would say by itself would be something we're going to test in the future against a known line and in a different type of nutrient shootout to see what benefits it has. But I would say I'm pretty much guaranteed that it's definitely giving me a lot better results. A lot of people who have previously dealt with it and had some experience, basically it seems like it's attributing, or its makeup is allowing for even more of the pre-flowers to set in and build up as quickly as they have. More than just the Psycho XL claiming to be in veg to adding this. So it looks like the Rhizal Fuel definitely has made a difference, I believe, in these genetics at getting me to much larger pre-flowers much sooner. So the idea now is to get rid of the potash, even though we're going to be running Psycho XL at 0.30, and already start stacking on by using the swell. So without further ado, we'll do the quick run through of the amount of dosages and start getting them in the tank with the ppms as they rise and the pH, and we will go from there. So first on the block will be the Rhizal Fuel. We have tested the ppm with the fresh water and we are at 0. So we should expect basically no ppm change with the Rhizal Fuel. And so we'll be putting 460 milliliters per reservoir, being that the reservoirs are at 115 gallons, and there's 4 milliliters a gallon, and it's 1 milliliter per liter. Alright, so as previously observed, no change in ppm. So next up is the B1 boost. The B1 boost is 2 milliliters per gallon. So shit, 920 per res. Alright, so our ppms now are at 260 with the B1 and the Rhizal Fuel together. Next is Silica. Silica has a tendency to bring pH down. And I forgot to look, but this I also run at 2 milliliters per liter, so 8 milliliters a gallon, or 920 per reservoir. Alright, so after Silica, our ppms are right around 290 to 300. So the next product up is the Psycho Swell. A little foamy, a little cloudy, not very thick, but much like Overdrive. Let's see what that does, and let's get it in the res. The swell would be... Ooh. Crap, I gotta hit my notes. 1 second. So the swell is at 2.5 milliliters per liter. So yeah. So we're talking 1,050 milliliters per reservoir of the Psycho Swell. Alright, now with the addition of over a liter per reservoir of the Psycho Swell, we are running both reservoirs at 500 ppm. So next up we have Sugar Rush. And Sugar Rush will be 460 milliliters per reservoir, 1 milliliter per liter. And And that's what it looks like. So with the addition of Sugar Rush, as expected, no change in ppm because of its makeup. So still running 500. So the next up is Zyme. Zyme's rate is 1 milliliter per gallon, or 1 milliliter per liter, so 460 mils per gallon per reservoir. So with the addition of the Zyme from Psycho, also again no change in ppm, so still at 500. Next up we have Uptake. Uptake's really dark and somewhat messy, but at 1 milliliter per gallon, it's not a bad dosage rate, and for whatever it does, it seems to work for me. So after Uptake, surprisingly, we're still at 500 ppm. Uptake doesn't have an NPK. Sugar Rush and Zyme have an NPK rating. So does Silica. It's quite minor, but I guess Uptake wouldn't be measurable, but we're still at 500. So next up we have the Dr. Repair. I'm going down to 1 milliliter per liter, so 460, because we are starting to stack and I don't need the added nitrogen. I might need some of the iron, but I'm going to continue to give nitrogen because I'm still building and producing smaller leaves on the lower canopy now that I have the side lighting. So having that extra nitrogen forced there should give me more growth on the side lighting sides, and hopefully allow me to produce bigger buds from that one single light, essentially lighting a 4x8 sized area. So I'm going to continue to use it, but only at the 1 milliliter per gallon rate. So now with the addition of the Dr. Repair, the last major nutrient, big bottle nutrient, we have a ppm of 540 in both. So next up we have the Grow XL. The Grow XL is 1 milliliter per gallon, a quarter milliliter a liter. It's 0.30, and it's going to bring the pH way down. So basically a bottle and 15 milliliters worth of Grow XL per reservoir. 115 milliliters. And some of my nutrients are running low, but there's more than enough for all the top offs it will take for basically the next 6 weeks. Whew. That was rinsing the other 2 bottles to get the most out of it. And available potash derived from superphosphoric acid. So I had one of the caps kind of in my mouth, and man, it's tart, it's strong. It doesn't seem to hurt you. So, but this is supposed to basically continue to set the bud sites up and bulk them up, while possibly still doing the hairing out of the roots like it doesn't grow. Later on, probably a year from now, when I have a lot more scientific equipment, I'll be doing sacrificial plants and doing cross cuts and actually looking at root development, you know, throughout every 5 days of a grow based on a specific nutrient, which is where I want this whole nutrient shootouts company to really evolve into, is to something that's incredibly scientific. And so next up we have our bases, the Bloom A and the Bloom B. These will be at the corrected amount of 1150 milliliters, or 2.5 milliliters per liter. And that's what the swell was supposed to be, and I've already corrected that. But so 1150 milliliters per reservoir of both Bloom A and Bloom B. So next we have Bloom B, same rate, 1150. Taking a look at what our ppm has done with just the Bloom A, we went from still 500 all the way up to 870. So we've taken a 370 ppm spike. Alright, so now we're going for a calibration. And it looks like our meter is so far calibrated on 7. And hopefully our 4 is still down at 4. Temps in the water are right around 67, 66 in the reses, and we are at 4.0. So our meter has stayed quite calibrated. This is about the third meter I've gone through in less than a year, because you saw how it just rebooted there instead of doing the cal. And this one's doing it too, so these Blue Lab pens aren't nearly as good as I thought they should be. But let's get some pH numbers. If everything goes well, our ppm hopefully will be around 1500, but I think it's going to just be hanging around 12. And our pH will be, I believe, 5.5 to 5.8 because of the Psycho XL. Whereas normally with the first 2 weeks of nutrients, we ended up having a pretty good pH of 6.2 to start, so we didn't have to come down that much. So we will come back in just 1 second with those numbers. And so we have 1130 in both reservoirs, so even lower. So I think I'll be doing some adjusting, but I don't think I'll be more than 1200 in the end. Alright, so what I'm going to do is probably a capful and a half of pH up, since we ended up being at 5.1 and 5.2. So it's a bit lower than I expected, but the Grow XL and the silica definitely play their part in that. Normally my RO is around 7, and the normal loadout typically will bring it around to 6.2. I wasn't thinking it would go as low as like 5.1. So we're going to just adjust that right now all the way to 5.8, and these things should be feeding at 8 o'clock. And it's 5.8, it says 5.7, but the cap's on it. And it wouldn't hold for me because it kept rebooting. So, but yes, 5.8 in both tanks. Surprisingly, the 5.3 in the right was harder to bring up, even though the ppms were the same. But 5.8, and they're ready to feed. So that should do it for nutrient shootouts videos for the day. There may be some updates on possibly mothers or whatever's left in the veg tent, basically just mothers. If you have a grow operation and you're running around 4,000 watts or higher, I would highly recommend getting a pair of Method 7 glasses. If you want to film, even if you're using magnetic ballasts, I recommend buying the Method 7 lens, which comes with a nice mount, and you can get custom mount kits. I basically just made mine where I can basically just stick it over and put it in front of an HPS light, and everything looks great. So for now, like and subscribe, tell your friends, and hopefully we will see you with some updated videos of some of the events I'm going over this weekend. More on that later. Thanks, bye.